what's up, everybody? It's your boy Sam B right here with the Tune Up Show. So look, as you can see with the title and everything, last night I did a video about Hunter Biden and his laptop and his, pretty much his own definition of the Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Okay? This guy, the laptop, everything has came out. So I'm doing a special tonight, and I hope that it gets to whoever it needs to get to. I want to be firm. I want to be I want to be sensitive on this subject, because it is a sensitive subject, and I pray to God that it gets to the people that it needs to get to. But I'm not going to keep anyone in theatrics. I'm going to start it off with a couple of videos. I'm going to get right into it. This scientist from Australia version of 60 Minutes. All right? Trying to say that pedophiles are born and not made. So I got a couple of videos and I got a couple articles I'm going to go through. And for time's sake and the attention span of America right now, I am going to just get right to the point. So let's do this.
We could tell in the beginning that something was different in these people, and it was something that was different in a way that they couldn't control. But we had no idea, is this the kind of thing that would be different from something that they learned over the course of life, or something that they were born with. That sex network, which is cabled together, is all cabled through that same chunk of connective tissue, which I found was different in the pedophiles. So it's not that these areas of the brain are different in the pedophiles, it's that the network that they're supposed to form isn't connected properly. So it's accidentally identifying things in the environment that should evoke a parental nurturant instinct, but instead it's provoking a sexual and erotic instinct, almost like a literal cross-wiring in the brain.
From all the science,
Yep.
from all your science, did it answer the question, are pedophiles born or made?
Interestingly, the science in general says that pedophiles appear to be born, not made. The stuff that we've seen that are different in pedophiles in their brain functioning is all stuff that doesn't happen during the course of life.
Are you saying that for the pedophile, their attraction to children is natural?
They experience it as natural. They did not pick it. They come to realize it over the course of life. The way that most of them describe it starts out like any of us. When they're, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, they get crushes on people around their age, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And then most of us, as we grow older, we continue to get crushes on and experience attractions to people roughly around our age, growing into adulthood as we grow into adulthood. For the pedophiles, however, when they start becoming 14, 15, 16, they're still getting crushes and finding themselves attracted to 8, 9, 10 years old. So it takes them until there's enough contrast between their own age and the people they're attracted to before they start realizing there's something different about them.
That implies it's not a choice for them, that it's actually a sexual orientation.
Correct. All the evidence suggests that they did not pick to be attracted to children any more than the rest of us picked to be attracted to adults.
That's a big call, isn't it?
It is a big call, and I don't make it easily. I don't think anybody makes it easily.
So, if it is biological, if the brain is wired that way, it also implies, doesn't it, that the wiring cannot be changed. There is no cure.
That's what it seems to suggest now. I hesitate ever to say that the future will not produce some technology that I could not predict. But we don't have any technology, we don't have any surgery, we don't have any intervention currently that really can impact the basic connective structure of the brain.
No medication.
No medication, no therapy, no surgery. That nobody's produced.
Well, aside from castration.
Well, that's not exactly a cure. That wouldn't turn a pedophile. Castration wouldn't turn a pedophile into a non-pedophile. Castration, of course, removes a person's sex drive. Now, that can be very beneficial. A lot of people who are attracted to something that they cannot enact would rather live a life without a sex drive than a sex drive they have to spend every minute of every day actively suppressing. But it's not a cure in the sense that it's turning a pedophile into a non-pedophile, that they will now be attracted to adults and be able to, have a relationship, become a parent and so on.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're like me and everyone else that think like me, you are burning up inside. But see, this is what needs to happen, because see, this is the normalizing of pedophilia. All right? Because see, I know what has to happen here. Because see, it has to happen. This society has to go down. This society has to implode on itself. For good, for righteousness to take place. Everything he said is against God. It's against the scriptures. It's against anything and everything. But yet, America, all the continents combined, they don't want anything to do with it. It's your children that's going to suffer. That's what's happening. You have an administration who has a president that has a son that they finally let all the images of child pornography let loose in the mainstream. This is what's happening. Me, people like InfoWars, Alex Jones, it's all been warned. The last letter on the LGBTQ propaganda and political movement is P. Pedophilia. I'm going to show you another video. I'm going to show you another video.
Source, because
I'm going to let it play out in entirety. Just trust me, I'm burning up inside. I'm burning up. But I have to do this. I have to let you know. I have to let you see this. Because this is what's happening. This is within the last 2-3 years. All these videos. Anything I'm about to show you, this is what's happening. Don't say the tune-up show didn't warn you. Don't say Sam B was lying. Just say you didn't give a shit. And you was more worried about your likes on Instagram. Yeah, exactly. This is a trigger warning. We will be discussing sensitive topics that will include the following: child abuse. This is some women called virtuous pedophiles. And you know what? I saw this. I myself want to hunt this woman down and take her out. And I mean that. Because this is not a game. You are dealing with children that have dealt with this all their lives. All their lives. And this woman has the nerve to put up a trigger warning. But I'll let her put it out there. want you to hear this. Because this is what's happening. Your children is what at stake.
I just learned about this website called verped.org. It's short for virtuous pedophiles. Not virtuous as in they're better than everyone because they're attracted to children, but virtuous like having moral standards and a sexual orientation that they have no control over, like the rest of us. Before you get all worked up, I'm talking about pedophilia, not child molestation or rape. Pedophilia is the sexual attraction to children. It's a paraphilia. There's a link to more information about it in the description, videos I've made in the past explaining the kind of human diversity and development. Molestation and rape are different. These are abusive actions that often have nothing to do with attraction. Many child abusers are actually sexually attracted to adults, but they act out on children, meaning you probably don't object to.
All right, so look. I told myself I wasn't going to, but I had to do this on this one particular woman. As you can see, the bulging eyes, the wide-eyed effect, which is amongst all liberals. Obviously, this woman's batshit crazy. She's out of her fucking mind. And God, please forgive me for using that kind of profanity. But this woman is part of what's wrong with this society, because it's very obvious that this woman, this woman obviously has some kind of childhood trauma, some kind of childhood sexual trauma, and someone told her that what was happening was right. Someone told her that. And it's a goddamn shame. And when I say goddamn, that means God damned it. Okay? That's what I mean. God damns anything that has anything to do with a detrimental mental health or physical abuse towards any children. And this woman, you can look at her and tell, you can just look at the disassociativeness of what's happening with her, and what happened with her. But I'm going to let her say her piece, and I'll keep my comments towards the end.
Pedophiles because you're compassionate and rational, but you may loathe child molesters and rapists because they violate people. I personally try not to judge either. I just want them to get help and not hurt people, which is why I am giddy with joy. Like maybe one of the brightest discoveries of my whole career. Steven on Patreon told me about Verped. I've been looking for this very resource because people who feel ashamed or afraid to talk about their sexualities tend to hurt themselves or others in order to cope. I'm just gonna let Verped speak for itself for a moment. Main page, there's a testimony from a 20-year-old man who has been attracted to young girls since he was 13. Women just don't interest me. I wish with all my soul that I could have a brain that's wired normally. I know that I can never act on what I feel, but I need to speak to a therapist because I don't think I can get through this on my own. But if I talk to a therapist, he could report me because I have to talk about my attraction to young girls. I don't know whether he would or not, and don't even know how to go about getting more information. Even the friendships I have are in danger of falling apart because I can't just keep saying, I'm fine, and I can't talk to anyone about my problem. I think about suicide a lot. This scenario is really common enough that you probably know and are friends with a handful of pedophiles. It's a sexual orientation like hetero, homo, pan, or asexuality, not a choice. They probably also can't bring themselves to talk to you about it. Verped is like the only way that they can spend time out of the closet. And as a community of allies, I know you're aware of what a difference it can make for people to acknowledge who they are, what they think and feel. Fuck isolation. Anyway, I'm super excited about the site. It's making a big difference in the lives of people who need it, and it's really helpful for the general public to learn about sexuality. On their frequently asked questions page, they say, How could society change to make things better? FearPed responds, if a pedophile wants help, society should make sure that they get it before they harm a child. In Germany, the Dunkelfeld Project is open to those who have not broken the law, and in the United Kingdom, there is a program known as Stop Us So. Globally, the Association for the Treatment of Sexual Abusers has become more welcoming of non-offending pedophiles. Our hope is that programs of this kind will become more prevalent. Mine too. They continue, mandatory reporter laws need to be re-examined. On the one hand, they are vital in helping protect children from abuse, but there is one component that is definitely counterproductive: the requirement that psychotherapists make a report if they think their client may commit abuse in the future. This is vague enough that the take-home message for pedophiles is that you can't safely admit your attractions with a therapist. Dr. Fred Berlin has noted non-offending pedophiles used to seek help at his practice, but they stopped coming in when mandatory reporting laws came into effect. This site is sexual abuse prevention. It's not about telling little kids to not get in cars with strangers or advising women not to stare at dark. Nothing that victims do causes abuse. If we really want to change, we have to come up with options for potential perpetrators, something for them to troubleshoot, to be able to talk it out and find ways to live and express their sexualities that don't harm others or themselves. Anyway, that's my really happy thought. We're headed in that direction. Stay curious.
So yeah, that was Virtuous Pedophiles by Sexplanations. You know, I asked God, why? Why? And the thing about it is, you know, I know a lot of people, not a lot, but I know people that are gay, lesbian. I don't know any transgenders. I'm going to put that on Front Street right now. I don't know any transgenders personally. But bisexual, lesbians, whatever, I don't know. I know them. But see, most people that live by that standard, they're grown men and women. When it comes to children, pedophilia, these words, all right? These people, they have to redress it. They have to make it stone cold. They have to introduce it in another way. They have to repackage it. All right? So it brings me to the New York Times. All right? You know, this pedophilia thing, it's been in the works for a very long time. All right? This is an article from the New York Times. Pedophilia, a disorder, not a crime. Yeah? Well, okay. Let's see it. And obviously you see the animation here. You got this man cowering, and you see all these little kids in the playground, and, you know, basically trying to paint them as a victim. All right, so New York Times, I pray that you find the light. All right? I really do. But let's get into this article. Camden, New Jersey. Think about to your first childhood crush. Maybe it was a classmate or a friend next door, most likely through school and into adulthood. Your affections continue to focus on others in your approximate age group, but imagine if they did not. Now, that goes to what that first scientist, so-called scientist, was saying. They're trying to equate a way where, oh, it's the same thing. They can say that, hey, these people, it's the same sexual desire to a man or a woman and to a child. They're trying to put it all in the same boat. Okay? Because see, I told myself, I fought every fiber of my being to say something. But I told myself, let me just save it to the end. I'm going to say it to the end. Because this is what's happening. But I'm going to continue. By some estimates, 1% of the male population continues long after puberty to find themselves attracted to prepubescent children. These people are living with pedophilia, a sexual attraction to prepubescents that often constitutes a mental illness. Okay, that's what it is. It's a mental illness, right? It's been a mental illness since 1968 in the United States of America. Okay? Now hear me out. Hear me out. Unfortunately, our laws are failing them and consequently ignoring opportunities to prevent child abuse. So, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders defines pedophilia as an intense and recurrent sexual interest in prepubescent children and a disorder if it causes a person marked distress or interpersonal difficulty, or if the person acts on his interest. And see, why do they keep saying his? It's a lot of his, a lot of him, a lot of man. Because they know who the real pedophiles are. Okay? Not saying that women can't be pedophiles. Okay? Because if I can help it, I don't want any grown woman near my son. Alright? But they're putting on the interest of his or him. Right? And mind you, and what is this? This is 2014. This was 2 years before the whole Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton thing, right? So, men, they've been trying to demonize you from the beginning. All right? So let's do this. Let's keep it going. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder defines pedophilia as an intense and recurrent sexual interest in prepubescent children and a disorder if it causes a person marked distress or interpersonal difficulty, or if the person acts on his interest. Yet our laws ignore pedophilia until after the commission of a sexual offense, emphasizing punishment, not prevention. Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. New York, you are full of crap, all right? Because years later, from the Liberty Champion, the California Republic, all right? They put out something. Years later, years later. That was from 2014 when they were trying to just act like they were just saying like, oh, okay, well, we'll just act like, pedophilia is just something that needs to be dealt with. So now, 2014 to 2020, 6 years later in California, all right, from the Liberty Champion, Liberty University, a college. This is another thing that was here, okay? A couple weeks ago, now mind you, this is 2022, this is from 2020, this is 2 years ago. All right? A couple weeks ago, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law that would allow judges to decide whether or not to list someone as a sex offender for having oral or anal sex with a minor. This bill has appalled many, as it should, and yet some have failed to realize that it was simply meant to expand the discretion that was already granted to judges in the past in a previous bill in California in 1944. Judges were allowed to make this call, but it only applied to vaginal intercourse with a minor. Now, this new bill allows judges to expand the law adherent to homosexual actions. This means that an already existing evil has been turned into an even bigger one. Although some are saying this bill does not equal the legalization of pedophilia, in a sense, it very well represents a step closer toward that heinous reality. This bill was passed in the name of equality, claiming that LGBTQ plus, like I said, watch out for that plus, because it's LGBTQ plus P. P as in pedophilia. All right? LGBTQ plus minors deserve the right to consensual sex too. That's what they're saying. Yet, truly, the only people benefiting from this bill are those who should be charged as offenders but are instead being defended by the state. Now, I'm going to stop that right here. And I'm going to keep it going. Now, this is the United States declaring that pedophilia is a mental disorder, that it needs to be dealt with. Okay? From the Merck manuals, from the Merck manuals. All right? From the Merck manual. Here it is. From the Merck manual. Pedophilia, pedophilic disorder. Pedophiles may be attracted to young boys, young girls, or both, and they may be attracted only to children or to children and adults. Doctors diagnose pedophilia when people feel greatly distressed or become less able to function well because of their attraction to children, or when they have acted on their urges. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So that bullshit that motherfucker was saying, that scientist was saying, it's all BS. Okay? Because you are noted as a pedophile once you acted on it. So, what that scientist has to say, saying that you were born that way, it's a damn lie. It's a damn lie. That's what it is. It says it right here. So these people are lying to you. And you have your president of the United States, Joe Biden, that's trying to cover up for his son and his accolades and the shit he was putting down. If you vote for him, you voted for the destruction of this country. That's what you did. I'm serious about this because this is what's happening. Because most pedophiles express immature behavior that's contrary to positive mental health. And that's just what it is. So you want to stand there. You want to grandstand. And look, God does not stand for it. Because he says it be best that you wrap, that you tie a millstone around your neck before you touch one of my children. And if that ain't enough for you, That's the only time God says suicide is a better choice. So you do what you gotta do. Until then, I'm Sam B. This is the Tune Up Show. I'm out of here. Peace.